The call woke me up at 3:27 a.m. I rolled over to see who'd need anything at this hour. I didn't recognize the number. I thought it must be important. For if it were not, I'd give him a piece of my mind.
Mr. Conway?
The voice on the other end of the phone asked, sounding stressed. I replied, still trying to wake up. That's me.
Mr. Conway, this is Air Traffic Control for Glass Private Airfield. We have a plane sending SOS about 4 clicks from your location. The pilots won't respond over the radio, and the Coast Guard won't be able to get there for about another hour.
Intrigued, now sitting upright, I asked what I could do for them.
Would you be willing to use your boat in order to bring the 5 passengers to the coast?
I guess I could do that, yeah. I'd been the captain of a small charter boat, the Anesidora, for 6 years now, and have helped the Coast Guard before in search parties. Not wanting to waste time, I stumbled to my closet and quickly dressed in my rain gear, all while holding the phone between my ear and shoulder. What are the coordinates of the beacon? I heard the caller rustling papers.
Coordinates are, 71, 10 north, 153, 46 west.
I repeated the coordinates to myself quietly while jotting them down on a notepad. I was driving the boat with one hand, holding a mug of black coffee in the other. The weather was rough, not terrible. Safe enough to swim, but probably not a good idea. The night made visibility very low. What are we looking for again? My first mate asked, climbing up from below deck. Cessna Denali, white body, black tail and wings, I replied. Ooh, fancy. What are they doing here flying out here at midnight? He asked with a hint of exhaustion in his voice. Probably some fishing group from East State coming up for the season. 4 a.m. The weather was getting worse. The boat started to break waves. My first mate Alex was taking his time to prepare some blankets and hand warmers for the passengers, and at the same time was keeping an eye on his fishing pole. He always fished. Whenever he was on a boat, put his pole in the water. Could you give the fishing a rest? You're supposed to be keeping an eye out for, the crashed plane, I said, exasperated. Fine. No fun, he said, walking to the stern of the boat. As he reached up for his pole, he exclaimed, Fuck! John, get over here, now! I quickly stopped the throttle and hurried to the stern. At first, I didn't see what he was pointing at. The dark waves made seeing anything below the horizon tough. He started to pull something in with a hook, and pulled something on board I will never forget. A body, or most of a body. I've seen things in my life, but this was grotesque, to say the least. It was the corpse of a female, blonde. One of her eyes was gone, probably eaten by a fish. Her leg was gone, seemingly ripped off by something large. The bloody stump of her leg had been waterlogged by the sea. With her shorts on, I could see a few inches of skin above the wound. Puncture wounds, 2 sets, in rings above the stump, one slightly higher than the other, like you would see on a leech bite, a very, very large leech bite. I was about to call it into air traffic control when a gush of blood pulsed out of the fleshy mess. Bits of tissue began to push away from the rest of the body, like something was trying to escape the gore. All of a sudden, a giant pulse of blood and matter spewed over the deck. Dozens of tentacles and teeth slid out over the wooden surface. All of the tentacles were writhing. These were no squid or octopus tentacles. These were barbed, green, big. All of a sudden, something quickly crawled out of her leg and slipped overboard, back into the depths. I only got a glimpse, but it looks spider-like, large, like a cat. And pretty sure I saw dozens of small black orbs on its back. I rushed into the cabin, slipping on blood. I reached for the radio receiver. Air traffic control, Mayday, Mayday, do you read?
That's a solid copy, Anesidora. have the passengers on board?
Negative, Control. Something is very, very wrong here.
No copy. Please repeat.
Something just birthed itself out of one of your passengers' legs. A cold silence stood for a few seconds before the radio crackled back on.
Sorry, please repeat. I didn't catch that last part.
Through a shaky voice, I managed to collect myself and speak clearly. Something just crawled out of a corpse's leg.
Did you just say leg?
Copy, Control, leg. Lima, Echo, Golf. Fucking leg. Silence filled the radio.
Copy that, Anesidora.
Once again, my first mate yelled out. Expecting the worst, I joined him at the starboard side of the boat. Sunlight had prevailed against the dark, letting us see the oceanic expanse before us. There, he exclaimed, even though I was right next to him. Out there, in the distance, was the white and black dot we were searching for. There's the plane. Maybe we can get some answers? Alex, my first mate, held optimism in his voice, but I could see he did not feel it in his heart. However, I was optimistic too. We finally found the missing plane. I steered the boat to be on course and raised the throttle. As we drew nearer, without anything to distract from my thoughts, my smile faded, as I really comprehended what had just happened. If that woman, still sitting on the deck, was truly one of the passengers, then the outlook of the others didn't look good. I radioed back to Control and told them we had found their plane. I could tell the radioman on the other end was still shaken by my previous news, but still tried to force enthusiasm. I don't blame him. I guess the whole event just hadn't sunken in with me yet. When we toiled in closer, everything looked normal. The modified Cessna Denali seaplane looked fine from this side, so I trailed over the other side where we'd be able to get access to the inside. Well, there's your problem, Alex mused. The other side was an entirely different story. The side doors ripped off, the insides were shredded, covered in an oily sheen. Something felt wrong. Not the fact that this plane had crashed, or the obvious reasons it should feel wrong. No, this felt like we shouldn't be here, like we were messing with something we were never meant to see. Something in the back of my head kept telling me to leave. While I was deep in my thoughts, I hadn't realized Alex had taken the helm. What are you doing? I hissed. Getting closer. I want to see what happened on the inside. I knew this was a bad idea, that we should get out of there as soon as possible. But I let him get close. I watched him step inside the plane. I was about to radio in what we had found when I heard Alex. Hey, John? Any idea what this is? Yeah, it's a book, dumbass. Yeah, I know it's a book, but I mean, look at it. He stepped back onto the boat and passed the book into my hands. The feeling only got worse. Leave, leave, leave. My mind was telling me. Wait, no, it was telling me to leave. Audibly. Leave, leave, leave. The book was heavy, old. The cover was hard leather with a gold and silver-edged bracket around the edges. When I opened the front cover, what greeted me was a strange symbol, with lots of triangles and swirls. Nothing I could begin to recognize. Flipping through the first few pages, all I saw was strange symbols and a weird language I had never seen before. Oh, some weird religious shit, I concluded, handing it back off to Alex. Alex, the klutz that he is, dropped the book on the deck. Clunk. That didn't sound like a book, Alex said. It sounded like a box, I blurted, finishing his sentence. I reached down and retrieved the book from the deck. I turned it upside down. Clunk. Yep, there's something in there. Alex started flipping through, trying to find a hollowed-out section. Aha, here, he said as he produced an object from the book. It was small, made of stone, looked like a large coin. It had a carving of a figure consuming a small ship. Wait, Alex said, as he had been looking over my shoulder. He rushed below deck faster than I could ask what he saw. About 30 seconds later, he returned carrying a magnifying glass. What is it? Either the sea is making me crazy, or what? Well, that's the fucking Titanic.